You are looking at America's best male gymnast. He's Sam Mikulak, who's won back-to-back U.S. all-around championships. Today, he's going for a third straight. And as things would have it, he started out the first rotation on the high bar. Here's what happened.
You know, Sam is great on high bar. He's been a world finalist. His routine is just jam-packed. And the thing that I love about it is he has such a variety in all of the different element groups. So he handled this one very well. Beautiful position. He did another one too. This one in a tuck position. Now watch how he just soars on this element right here. Watch the height. Oh, it's great. But then, oh, saw it before, and I still jump.
I'm not sure I've ever seen him do anything like that.
And you know, this is a new rule. It used to be once you come off the apparatus, you have 30 seconds to get back up. Now, they let you stay down, and as soon as you stand up, then he's got 30 seconds. So what happened is he just didn't get enough up to the handstand, and look at that right arm. The hand doesn't get around the bar, and there is just no way, when that happens, no way you're gonna be able to hold on. So look at the right hand, and look at how he fumbles the grip right there, and then tries to make an adjustment, but when you're making that adjustment right at the bottom of the swing, ping, you go.
He had a comfortable lead of more than 2 points, so that's an absolute disaster, right? No. Actually, he increased his lead. It's good to be Sam Mikulak in Indianapolis today. Get the gold medal ready.
Oh, unbelievable!
Live from Indianapolis, it's the PNG Gymnastics Championships. They've done everything they can to get everybody in the mood for Rio. They built their own beach and named Cleveland Street the road to Rio. And today, everyone shows up at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse to find out if Sam Mikulak can pull it off. They're still buzzing about what Simone Biles did yesterday, and he's on his way maybe to doing the same thing. Last night here in this building, she won in dominating fashion for a third consecutive year. Here are the standings right now as we join you after a couple of rotations. Mikulak's lead now is actually over 4 points. Paul Riri is right there. Chris Brooks next. And we've had so many things to talk about. High bar has been a place where a few dreams have been altered today. Al Troutwig with Tim Daggett, Nastia Lukin, and Andrea Joyce. Here's Donnell Wittenberg.
And that wasn't even close. I mean, he didn't even get his second hand on the bar.
Another Olympian, Jonathan Horton.
This one he should have gotten. He just misplaced where he put his hands. That doesn't feel so good on the noggin either.
Danelle Leyva, very scary.
Yeah, this could have, it could have gone so wrong in so many different ways.
Well, when you compete spectacularly, you can crash the same way. It's almost like he didn't want to let go of the bar, Nastia.
It was a little scary because it almost seems to like he got confused or on what he was doing. It was, I think, his grip that was a little stuck and forced him to do that scary fall.
You know what happens is they're doing so long routines now, and your grip strength is exhausted, and he taps. It's called a tap when you make these massive body changes. And he tapped so hard, and it just pinged his hand right off the bar.
Danelle Leyva came here saying he wanted to win this. He had a time penalty on the parallel bars, then the crash. His mind has to be a mess. Donnell Wittenberg was in second place. Jonathan Horton at 29 is trying to go back to the Olympics again. So many things altered, and if I was choosing Team USA, I'm not sure what I would be thinking at this moment.
Well, it's not just you. The selection committee is up to our left at the main table, and I'm sure that they are all scratching their heads and going, what is going on here today?
Now on Pommel for Ohio State.
John really has looked quite good. He had the worst competition of his life, he said, at the re-ranking meet earlier in the year in Las Vegas at the Winter Cup. Took a little bit of time, made some changes. Actually started doing slightly easier gymnastics. He said, it's always been my pride, my ego. I've always wanted to do the hardest stuff, but it wasn't smart for me. Very solid so far. Slide back on that landing, but that's what we've been seeing from Horton all week long. The high bar was a fluke. It's the first time he missed any of those releases the entire time he's been in Indy.
It's because I'm a ninja.
And he did American Ninja Warrior. He actually qualified on through out of the city championships, I believe.
He said, believe it or not, it's actually helped my gymnastics, you know, with his strength that he has to have for the show. He says it's helped his high bar and a few of the other events.
And you know, all of these guys are trying to impress the selection committee. It's not just Marta Caroli. There's a whole group of them right there. You see Kevin Majajka on the right of your screen. Next to him is Dennis McIntyre. Both of these guys have a say in how it all goes down. What they're going to do is they're going to put all of the numbers from day one and day two into a computer program, and then they'll look at scenarios as to what 6 guys can produce the highest team score, 3 up, 3 count, in the finals at the World Championships.
Jonathan Horton scores well, a 15.15. And now, Danelle Leyva, a time penalty. How does that happen?
Yeah, on his first event on parallel bars, you are allowed an extra 30 seconds, and if you don't mount the apparatus in time, that you used to not be able to even start. They've assigned a penalty of 3/10 to that now, and he incurred it. His coach and Deb Yin were not happy at all. Day one, he really struggled on floor exercise.
Actually on that pass right there, and still not as good as we've seen him do in training.
I asked his dad before the competition, is he gonna do the same routine? Is he gonna do his more difficult dismount, a double twisting, double somersault? He says, yeah, he can do it. He really can do it, Tim. And he won the qualifying meet for these championships. He won floor as well. That was a little bit tweaky. But here it is, right here. He used to do a double flip in a straight body position. Now he does 2 flips and 2 twists. It's really hard, and he's got to get into the floor. Works it around. Very nicely done. It's a big risk and reward, though. That's a 3/10 step at the end of that double-double.
That's a somber moment between stepdad and gymnast. So, as we all know, the scoring in gymnastics is very complicated. The maximum score that Jonathan Horton could get is a 16.3 based upon his difficulty. After deductions of less than 1.2, which is sort of livable, that's a green, that's a good score, 15.15, based upon what he was fully capable of doing. You get above that, and then it goes to caution, yellow, and then red, bad.
And yes, he was in the bad territory on high bar, as was Danelle Wittenberg, who came into this in 2nd place. And this guy also.
Tim, what do you think is happening here?
Well, you know, they're all trying to do super difficult high bar routines. I mean, it really is just off the charts difficulty. And the routines are long, and, you know, just things can go wrong.
But I think Danelle was one of the only ones that came in here and told us this week that he's here to win, and nobody else was able to say that. You know, I think in the back of their minds, they're all thinking that, but he was pretty confident in himself, and unfortunately has had a few mistakes here.
Well, he did say that, but he is not going to.
A 14.9 on floor exercise. He had a 13.1 in one of his routines on night one. So I thought what you said to me right before we came on the air from Ali Raceman was pretty appropriate, because it feels like Groundhog Day. Today feels like last night.
It sure does. And, you know, Ali Raceman said yesterday, the real winner is actually who comes in second place. You know, Simone Biles in the women's competition yesterday was so far ahead of everybody else. And that's really how it feels tonight with Sam. You know, he goes out and has a fall, and he's still 4 points ahead of everybody else.
So here is the man in second place, Paul Riri.
And, you know, he has had the displeasure of being alternate on 3 different world championship teams. Twitter has been ablaze, saying no more alternate for Paul Riri. He's got some big releases as well. Same one we saw Wittenberg come off on right there. And incredible.
It's the high bar fluke.
He had the second highest score night one. Now what they're talking about is, do we do it again? Do we repeat it? His coach Andrei Stepanchenko. This is very risky because he just missed it, but he's losing a lot of difficulty if he doesn't repeat the element. And he's gonna do it again, right here. No problem. The first one didn't look bad either. Nice combination. Oh, a little bit low, similar to what Sam Mikulak did. It tossed him off the bar. Paul has been very consistent lately. A great landing, but it does not erase that fall from the bar. Wow.
You know, I'm not sure there's anything more frustrating than falling on a skill, repeating it, and making it on your second try.
Sam Mikulak set the tone on night one when he really rocked it on the pommel horse. And it's funny, this is really normally the diabolical apparatus.
No, it is, absolutely. And we'll probably see some other people succumb to it today. I don't think we'll see Sam, though. Has a really good base of gymnastics on pommel horse. But oh my goodness, got really tight on that. This is tricky. Right here now. The skills are called Russians. Looks like he's completely back on track. Got his hips a little bit off again. Up to the handstand. An extra pirouette. That's a surviving situation for Sam, but certainly not what he wanted to have happen. He was much better day one on horse.
There you go. There you go. Staying on.
Well, he's leading by more than 4 points, so no matter how they see it, he'll still be in good shape. Maybe on his way to a 3rd consecutive at the P&G Gymnastics Championships in Indianapolis. The P&G Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by CoverGirl and Gillette, and by USA Gymnastics. Begin here, go anywhere. In spite of a major spectacular fall on the high bar, it's a day of dominance for Sam Mikulak. A Michigan Wolverine, a Southern Californian, now training with Team USA and on his way to winning a 3rd straight P&G Gymnastics Championship. Hi everybody, Al Troutwig along with a couple of gold medalists, Tim Daggett and Nastia Luke, and Andrea Joyce will have a report in a moment. You've had some dominant days, like Sam, like Simone Biles last night. What is it like? How do you keep your focus?
Well, I was never as dominant as either of them. You know, I think going into the competition and knowing that really you can have a fall or 2 or 3 and still be out on top is pretty incredible. But, you know, I think for both of them, they're competing against themselves in this moment, and they're kind of looking further than this national championships. They're looking ahead towards the Rio Games next year.
And Tim, we have a World Championships for Team USA and the rest of the world the end of October. And if you look at what could be a logical 6 names to represent the country, you could say that every single one of those 6 names has had a major bad moment.
I know, it's like high bar has gone viral, and it hasn't been good. I mean, these guys are not just falling off the apparatus. I mean, they're pinging off, and there's some really scary, scary stuff. You know, I've been in competitions where something like that has happened. It's like a flu, you know? It's like you see one guy do it, and everybody's a little bit cautious of high bar. It's scary. You're flying above the bar, you know, 15 feet off the ground, and if you're too close, you smash your head on the bar. It's scary stuff.
Now, there's something really, really special happening today. Peter Daggett, because of his second-place finish in the juniors, graduated to the senior competition today. He's done very well in his 3 apparatus. How are you holding up?
Oh, God, it's a challenge. I would call it surreal, that's for sure. He's out there competing for the first time. Oh, there he is. Oh, boy. Jeez.
Okay. We will show you some of Peter Daggett's very successful gymnastics a little bit later. Let's get to Andrea Joyce for another Sun story.
All right, well, you know, Al, we're going from youth to a little bit older. At 29 years old, Jonathan Horton calls himself the old man of gymnastics. And as Tim mentioned earlier, even though he's had to take some of the difficulty out of his routines, he told us that physically he feels better now than he did in 2012. And part of the credit has to go to his unique training tool, his 2-year-old son, David, in the gym often. And when you add a 27-pound toddler to your strength training and to those pull-up and chin-up routines, well, it definitely intensifies the workout. There's just one problem with all of this. He's become a beast. Jonathan says he's psycho. Apparently, this kid will jump off of anything. And Al, I don't know about you, but I am not surprised.
Oh, that is pure joy right there.
It is impossible not to laugh. It's so great. So Haley's been doing a good job of keeping David focused. Obviously, he can already use a phone. And I think Dad has just seen a shot of his son.
Yeah, got a big smile on his face.
Look, Mom, I just tweeted out.
Oh, boy.
So Jonathan Horton has had some moments, but like everybody else, he's had a bad moment on the high bar, so maybe you just take it and throw it out. It's just a bad day.
Yeah, you know, I mean, really, Jonathan's fall was the most surprising because he was in a good spot to grab the bar. Sometimes, though, things are happening so quickly that you just either reach on top of the bar or slightly underneath it, and that's what he did. I haven't seen him miss one all week in Indy, not any of his releases. So it was a little bit of a fluke, but...
Well, John is over at the Pommel horse, chalking up.
And this is one that he just really wants to survive, because John has been known for a long time as being one of the daredevils of the sport, but Pommel horse is not one of his best areas.
It's funny, during the break, I said to Nasty, I said, you ever been up there on a pommel horse? And she went, no, are you kidding? Why would I do that?
Tim, have you been on a balance beam?
Well, I don't think I've walked on a beam, you know, but I've never tried to do a switch ring.
My dad one time tried to do a backflip on the low beam, and he got so scared and said, okay, I get it now.
Really? Is that true?
Yes, it's a true story.
But John has said, I've got a chip on my shoulder. I want to show the selection committee that John Horton helps Team USA on the world stage.
Now on breakers for Ohio State,
A very good job for John today. Oh boy, a little bit of a leg separation. just got to fly up to a handstand right here. And that is really bad because that's not a dismount. And that's what Coach Tom Meadows just inquired as to whether he was given a dismount, and those judges are certainly right because he did not finish it.
Boy,
So
this is one weird day.
Now this is somewhat disastrous for John because he was, going to get a low score anyways, and just now you take another point and you take a step on the landing on Pommel horse, and that is. Oh dear. Oh boy. So he does a half turn on one arm, and he's supposed to just, well, this is right prior to it. He does this half turn on one arm, and he should be moving his hips up to a handstand. They're a little low, and so he has to use all strength. And right there, it's just, if he had passed over the body of the horse, even if he hadn't got to a handstand, they could have said it was a dismount and taken deductions, but.
Danelle Leyva and Jonathan Horton could share a few stories today, couldn't they?
Yes, they could.
Jonathan Horton gets a 12.45.
Coming up next on ball of Oklahoma will be
Donnie's actually got a nice swing on a horse. He's going to start with two skills that go up to a handstand. That one very nicely done. Here's another one right here. Does those pretty well. So it's all about rhythm. You should see a good rhythm throughout. Nothing should really change. That was excellent. Also want to have a good straight body. Little bit of separation right there. A little bit more. It's a very challenging routine. Kind of backed his leg on that Pommel horse a little bit. It's got to fly up once again. Oh my goodness.
So Tim, is it a deduction every time his body touches the horse?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And they're inquiring the same thing. I believe that that was a dismount.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. It has been just brutal today. Towards the end of that routine, he incurred deduction after deduction. So he had some struggles, but then he's just tired at this point. And once again, I said hips should be going up, right? And they don't. But because he made it, his body went past the handstand. He ended up falling down on the wrong side of the horse, which is a deduction. But he still gets credit for doing a dismount. And
They must be very confused at this point.
Yeah, that
selection committee.
Well, it's obviously really bad if you're not sure if you did a dismount or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was to me, a little confusing. I think you kind of should know whether that would count as a dismount or not to ask the judges. I'm not sure that would happen at a World Championships or an Olympic Games.
Danelle Leyva, after Horton's 12.45, gets a 13.35. Wow.
And you know what really hurts Danelle is he is potentially not just a guy that makes a world team, but potentially he could compete on Pommel horse in the 3-up team final at World Championships. And not with a score like that, though.
Well, you saw Sam Mikulak. He turned an unbelievable fall off the high bar into a bigger lead because of what happened after him. And here he is on still rings.
Sam, of course, going for his third in a row. Paul Hamm was the last one to do it, 2002 to 2004. Before that, there was a guy named Blaine Wilson who won an astronomical 5 in a row. Freeze that position for 2 full seconds. That was excellent. Very accurate position right there. Body should be parallel to the floor. Now his swinging elements. Sam is not as physically strong as some of the top guys in the world on rings, but for an all-around gymnast, he's very strong. Sam's great in the air. Difficult dismount. Double twisting, double somersault. Whoa! That was spectacular. Yes, it was. Absolutely spectacular. He gets more height on his dismount than just about anybody I've ever seen.
That horse, fuel it, baby. Come on.
Earlier in the week, Sam said that he just wants to live up to his own expectations, and I think he's doing a little bit more than even that.
So watch, he's going to create so much force from the bottom by pulling. His body just rises so high. It gives him time to see the ground, put his feet exactly where he wants to, and there you got it, folks. Gymnastics 101, fly high and stick that landing. Look at the height. Look at how much time. He's basically done. He's just, where do I put my feet down? Like a knife in soft cheese, Al.
That is a championship moment right there.
Up next on high bar for stats would be Pommel.
He's got one of the best smiles in the sport.
And you know, he's truly competitive
up,
with
Eddie. Come on.
the very best in the world in the all-around. If he is somehow able to put together a meet without any errors, any falls like he had on the first day on floor exercise, and then today on high bar, I mean, he's competitive, but that's...
2 sticks. 2 more events, too.
That's actually what he said. You know, when he was talking about his expectations, he says, you know, I don't like it that, you know, I was able to win, and that was great, but I've never competed cleanly at this competition. I've always had a fall. And he says that's what he was looking to do from this competition. Go in first day, rock 6 sets, and then do it today on Sunday. Certainly he's going to become the national champion again, but he's going to have to wait another year to try to fulfill that other expectation.
Mikulak on the still rings a 15.5. To Paul Riri. And we've got so many gymnasts right now who are trying to salvage something out of this day. Just do something that makes the selection committee feel good about them again. Here are the numbers on Mikulak. The maximum he could have gotten was a 16.2, and when you have the deductions of 7/10, you get a score that's still good.
And that is really hard to do a ring routine and only lose 7/10, but those judges, they got it right. That was excellent. Now Paul actually has a tattoo on his foot. He looks at it right when he steps out onto the floor. It's in Italian, sedere, I believe, and it means believe. So every time he steps out there, gets a little bit of motivation. I tell you, this selection committee, they have got their work cut out for themselves. Because a lot of the guys that have had errors are falling on their strongest events. Paul, like I said, he was second on high bar. He fell on that event. He's also very good on floor exercise and vaulting. But when you fall in an area where the USA is going to potentially need you in the team finals, it just makes the formula very tricky. Finish with a full twisting double somersault. Couple little slides, but it's going to get a good score. It's a good routine.
Now on rings for team of the USOTC,
There you have it. It says credere, which means believe. He said he put it in that exact spot, so when he was stepping out onto the floor, he would see it, and it would be a little inspiration for him.
I'm not sure I want to know how you uncovered that. This are the P&G Gymnastics Championships live in Indianapolis. It's Sam Mikulak's day, and we've had some strange things going on. More after this on NBC. Back live in Indianapolis, you're looking at Chris Brooks, who's one of those gymnasts on a long list who've had a real bad moment. He was in contention, top 3 for a while in night 1.
Actually, on this event, right here on the floor exercise, he did a very weird, I don't even know how to explain it, after this tumbling pass. I'm not even sure what he was going to do, but Tim, can you explain that?
He yelled at himself loud after that.
Yeah, right.
Said to grow up.
Yeah.
That is what he told himself.
Right before the meet, he was talking with a whole bunch of other people about it. I said, what the heck, man? And he was like, I said it was kind of funny. Somebody posted something that was somewhat humorous, and he says, yeah, it was really funny, except for I lost a point on it.
And, you know, as things have transpired today, he's back in the running to be on the podium at the end of today again.
Now let's see if he can get this jump done right. There you go. He was 4th all around at the 2012 Olympic trials. Was not part of that team. Was an alternate. He said about a year later, if I don't make it, maybe I'll stick around for another 4 years. What he battles most is his body. You see those heavily taped ankles. He had to completely remodel his floor routine because he can't sustain the pounding of landing, coming in backwards. It's just too much for him.
And that's exactly what he said. He said, my passion's there, and as long as my body allows it, I will be there.
A very, very clean, very good set from Chris Brooks.
No face plant.
No face plant. Oh, goodness.
Let's go, boys. 2 more. My leg hurts.
Now in 4th place after 3 rotations, Donnell Wittenberg.
He had the highest score on this event. And you know where he really helps Team USA is floor exercise. And this event right here, they wouldn't use him in the team finals on high bar where he came off. See, a lot of these gymnasts are opening up their hands now to telegraph to the judges that they are not using their wrists on the rings. See, the hands are open. This is kind of a new thing. The guys that aren't quite as strong would never do that because they need that, it's called a false grip to hold on. His dismount is crazy. Double, laid out. Oh! Ooh, that was good. Dang.
Well, we've seen some emphatic moments on the still rings in this rotation. Sam Mikulak had one. Donnell Wittenberg did one. Chris Brooks got a 14.7, a little bit over the deductions limit, so that's into the cautious zone. But right now, Donnell Wittenberg is feeling good in Indianapolis, Indiana. Sam Mikulak trying to win the P&G Gymnastics Championship for a third consecutive year. And he's in a great position to do it, a lot like Simone Biles last night, dominating the rest of the field by more than 4 points. Back after this. Coming to NBC, a mind erased and a body of clues that lead to fall's most thrilling mystery. Sounds like it could be for you, Tim. Blind Spot, Mondays this fall on NBC. There are some members of Team USA that are not here. For more on one of them, we go to Andrea Joyce.
Yeah, Al, it has been a particularly rough year for 2012 Olympian John Orozco. Sadly, his mom passed away in February, and then in June he re-tore the Achilles that he tore 5 years ago at these championships. He had surgery right away. Doctors tell him 8 to 10 months recovery. Now, a couple of days ago, he did tweet out, "I can barely walk, but I can still swing." And there he was on the high bar in the gym, sure enough, with that big boot on his foot, swinging away. I did talk to John on the phone this weekend, and he told me initially he was absolutely devastated. He felt like his entire world was crashing in on him, but he is determined to look forward and to move forward. He's got rehab twice a day, and he feels like this is an opportunity for him to really work on the events he can work on and get stronger, that being P-bars, high bar, and pommel. And if you're wondering, Al, if he still thinks he can make it to Rio, he knows he can. He says it's going to be a tough road, though.
Wow, that sounds really tough. Now you have Jake Dalton, who is here, just not competing. There was a thought he may do some events, but no, he's got a shoulder issue. What is his status as you know it?
Well, you know, he's actually filed a petition to be a part of the world team and have the shoulder fixed afterwards. I don't know, a little bit risky sounding to me, but I'll tell you what, Jake Dalton has been absolute money for Team USA over the past few years.
So here's Danelle Lavo, like so many of the other guys, trying to salvage something here today.
And this is not one of Danelle's best. He is tremendous on parallel bars. High bar has the ability to do that on floor exercise. His strength parts are good, but they're not anything like we just saw from Danelle Wittenberg.
Who, by the way, got a 16.2
stratospheric number on rings. Very nice handstand position, though. Love to see that. This is a new skill for Danelle. Watch a double flip while he's holding on, and then right up to the handstand again. That was better than day one. Dismount, just a small step, but I think that's probably, collectively, that's the best ring routine I've seen Danelle do in a major championships. And if those of you are wondering, his dad and coach, Yin Alvarez, we usually see him leaping in the air after Danelle has finished any type of a routine, jumping up and down, running around, pumping fists. He actually thought he might have tore his calf muscle in the first day of competition.
So even the coaches get hurt in gymnastics.
There he is. He's got a little bit of a limp on him. And I mean, literally, this guy is just, he is all over the floor, running back and forth and jumping off the podium. But he's very subdued today.
Sam Mikulak, a couple of events away from closing out a victorious week in Indianapolis.
And he had the top score, day one, a 15.5. Very difficult vault. He's going to do what's called a half turn onto the table, and then a back layout, but he'll do 3 complete twists. So hard to get him all around, and he does nicely. It's not quite as dramatic looking as some of the top vaults, but very difficult and rewarded well by the judges. Watch, he's gonna start spinning right here. 3 times around, just keeps going. Little bit chest low on the landing and the hop back, but that is gonna do nothing but help Sam Mikulak.
It's great to watch it live. It's even better in slow motion where you can appreciate how much is going on in the air up there. Sam Mikulak still in the lead by over 4 points. Danelle Leyva gets a 14.35. A lot of deductions, almost 1.5 points. As the story has really changed here, Sam Mikulak pretty much has this locked up after another very good green score. But Danelle Wittenberg and Chris Brooks are in a dead tie. And Paul Ruggieri is 15, I think, thousandths of a point behind them. So we've got a 3-way race for 2 spots on the podium. Now Wittenberg off a huge score on the still rings. Danelle Leyva got his 14.35, Mikulak 15.35, and again, Paul Ruggieri is a big part of a 3 into 2 doesn't go story.
The problem for Paul on this is Danelle Wittenberg is going to vault and Paul is going to horse, and it's not his best event. But this vault, however, is very risky, very dangerous, frankly, and hard to put on your feet. So this is wild. He's going to flip his body 3 times in the air. Going to run forward, down, enter onto the table in a forward position, and then look at those biceps, look at those arms, those shoulders. He will just crush that vaulting table as hard as he can to try to give him some height. And he'll try to flip 3 times, but that's not all. Then at the very end, he has to open his body and do a half twist. The first time I saw Marian Dragulescu from Romania do this vault, I was so happy. I was so far done with gymnastics because this is just crazy. Watch the power. Pretty good, pretty good. Once again, I've seen him do this better, but he's figuring out how to get it all the way around.
I thought it wasn't.
Coming up next on Pommel Horse for Team Hilton USA.
Just maybe cuts it short. He should completely extend his body straight up, and he doesn't
missed that block right there.
That's amazing that he got that around so well, because
I think you have to be that strong.
you should push
to be
up
able to
straight
do that.
to a handstand, and he doesn't straighten all. It's like trying to jump up and dunk a basketball and leaving the floor with your knees still bent and your hips not open and extended. Doesn't really get the height that he typically does, but man, he is pulling like crazy.
Coming up next on Ball from Ohio State will be Sean Valentine.
Let's see how the battle unfolds now. We'll get the Wittenberg score in a moment, but we get the Chris Brooks performance right now.
And you know, Chris is actually potentially very good on pommel horse. He really struggled night 1. I think his routine is just maybe a little too challenging for him. I hope he makes a liar out of me right here. Oh boy, just a silly little mistake. Not a huge deduction or anything, but kind of rattles you. That was good. Oh my goodness.
This is unbelievable. Tim, and I wasn't aware of this, but Paul Ruggieri got an 11.75 on the pommel horse while Danelle Wittenberg was doing that vault. And now Chris Brooks goes up with a chance to stay in the race, and he comes off the apparatus.
And actually, Chris has a lot of routine left to go. So that good dismount, good finish. But But he actually left out some elements from what he did day one, which I think was a good idea, but fall is a point.
So Donnell Wittenberg has put a major squeeze on second place. What's going to happen in the carnage behind him, though? That's the question here in Indianapolis at the P&G Gymnastics Championships. Back live in Indianapolis, which is the city where Alec Yoder is from. And they have really been cheering for this guy. It has been fun.
And this is his event. He's actually the leader after day one, only 18 years old.
Yeah, when they introduced the athletes today, his cheer was louder than Sam Mikulak's. And look at beautiful extension. Oh my goodness. So difficult what he's trying to do, those 2 full spins on 1 pommel. I have no idea how he was able to pick this back up so well. But as you said, 18 years old, and his score, they plugged it in after night 1. He helped Team USA dramatically because of how good he was, a 15.6. Oh boy. Once again, inquiring if he has to do another dismount. Definitely not, in my opinion. And that's correct. I don't know why they took so long deciding if he was going to have to do another dismount.
You know, I looked around the room after that happened, and all the gymnasts, for the most part, were stationary. Ian Alvarez was in the middle of a group. They were just staring at each other. They could not believe what they had just seen.
Well, it was a scary fall, too. It was like he kind of fell down on his arm.
It was scary and sad, right?
Yeah, and
yeah,
I guarantee you he's never done this before in his entire life. He just completely misses his hand.
Hey, that head up, let's go one more.
You know, as a kid, a high school gymnast, he was named to the senior national team at the Winter Cup earlier this year. But he was, I know that he was in the conversation, being considered for the World Championships in Glasgow because he was so good night 1 on pommel horse.
All right, he's got to think about what's still possible in the future. Here's Jonathan Horton on the still rings.
John has bounced kind of all over the standings, of course, with his problems on pommel horse, but this is a great event for him. Physically very strong, always has had a good look. Watched John grow up as a little kid, and I saw him do many of these strength parts when he was, you know, a young teenager, and I thought that's impossible. How is he able to do that? Body is built for the power events, still rings, floor exercise, not pommel horse. Very good so far. Just got to somehow find the ground at the end of this when you're so exhausted. Slide back, but a very strong routine from Horton.
John, Tim, what happens if John doesn't make the World Championship team?
Well, for John, I'm sure a lot of it is about making the national team as well, because he needs some funding. But I don't know. He hasn't done himself a solid like he could have.
All right, now Alec Yoder, a Pommel horse, a 13.95. And speaking of 18-year-olds, we didn't want to force Tim Daggett to go through this live. This was Peter doing what he does best. His son. We've all here and covering gymnastics have watched him grow up, bouncing off hotel lobby walls and things like that. This is amazing.
Yeah, he's a strong boy himself. I don't know where he got that from, but he's actually got great positions. I didn't see this.
I was looking over at you, Tim,
yeah,
to see if you were watching.
No, I couldn't watch it. We were talking about something else, but so far, really good. I see absolutely no deductions now. Oh, goodness. This is a pretty clean routine, I'll tell you. And that is hard to do. Hard to do on the still rings. At this point, I know, because I coached him for so many years. I mean, he's very, very tired, and a lot of times he doesn't get that landing. There's a giant. But this landing is challenging for him. And he did exactly what he needed to.
He's with the Oklahoma Sooners these days, but to graduate from the juniors to the seniors in just a matter of a couple of days, what an honor for the Daggett family, Deanne, Tim, and Peter. We'll be back as we head to the finish line here at the P&G Championships. We're heading to the final rotation at the P&G Gymnastics Championships. Great day for Sam Mikulak after an almost disastrous start. But what a battle for the third and final spot on the podium between Chris Brooks, Stephen Legendre, and Paul Riri as they head to the 6th rotation here in Indianapolis. Back after this on NBC. The P&G Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by CoverGirl and Gillette, and by USA Gymnastics. Begin here, go anywhere. Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, Nastia Lukin, Andrea Joyce, and the star of the day and this P&G Championship is Sam Mikulak, trying to put an exclamation point on a 3rd straight national title. But I'll tell you, about an hour and a half ago,
Yeah, look.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yes, it was. But I'll tell you, if he can do what he did night one, not only will he win, but he's going to increase his lead again. He had the highest score, 16.25, which is an astronomical number on parallel bars. He said he would be ever so pleased if he could pull that off on the world stage at the World Championships or the Olympic Games. If he did that routine, I believe he's a medalist without a doubt. On this event, parallel bars, if he could do that routine again in Glasgow. Already a little bit clunky. Watch this here, though. This is great. Only guy I've ever seen do that. And now we'll do another huge high-flying release. It's called a boxar, from one end of the bar to the other. Named after Olympic medalist Raj Boxar. It's so varied. That's what this routine, it's so many different type of elements. Big dismount. Oh, wow.
That was almost scary.
That was
on straight legs.
And I don't know how he was quick enough to make an adjustment so he didn't completely fall. Wow. Has a lot of power. Big swing for this. Nice form, and he is, wow, yeah, a little bit of locked legs.
He's got some tough ligaments.
Yeah.
That's going to do it. The smile of a champion, 3rd straight time. That is Sam Mikulak. So then you have Donnell Wittenberg. He's pretty much locked in for 2nd. So the real key battle comes down to Steve Legendre, Chris Brooks, and maybe Paul Riri.
And Steve has had some up and down moments. He sat down his uber difficult vault day 1 and day 2. He got some releases, and today that's scary. Beautiful.
Coming up next on parallel bars, Steve Hilton, USA Gymnastics.
Very good routine for Steve. Big dismount, triple back somersault. Just a small hop on the landing, but he did himself a solid right there.
I remember training with him in high school in Texas, and Heimer was never one of his favorite events, but that dismount was always something that stopped everybody in the gym.
So now he needs a little help. We'll see whether he gets it in a moment.
This board keeps putting me like really up and down.
Let's go and see what kind of a finish Jonathan Horton can put on his day too, because what happened to him on the vault 2 days ago was pretty wild. He almost went right into our camera off the runway.
Just way too much power. And look out. Good catch. You know, he just held onto his tuck a little bit too long. You come flying off the podium like that, it's a little scary.
And how can you not be thinking about that
Oh,
in this moment?
He's thinking about it right now. Absolutely, he is thinking about it. But John has been doing this vault for a very long time. He's actually done and competed it with a half twist like we saw Wittenberg. There you go. That's pretty much what we typically see from John, but he is just so frustrated with his day.
You know, he said he came into these championships, took some skills out so he could be more confident.
You make dumb mistakes today, man.
You hear him say.
Yeah, dumb mistakes today.
Sam Mikulak scores well on his bars routine, 15.3.
Nowhere near like day one, though.
Now, a lot of deductions compared to that. But the judges did not like Steve Legendre much. High bar, 14.2.
Let's go, Marvin.
Doesn't
You got
have the
this,
level, the maximum starting score that some of the other guys have. Yeah, I look around the gym, and, you know, Danelle Leyva, if you'd have asked me the day before this meet began, if I would have thought he would have had the struggles that he had, no way. I mean,
He's 8 points behind Sam Mikulak.
It's a little bit of a less difficult ball. The same vault as Sam, but just with 2 twists. We saw Sam Mikulak do it with 3 twists.
Up next on high bar for Oklahoma, Peter Daggett.
That was a very, very rough week for Danelle. And I firmly believe that he is a world-class gymnast. He can hold his own on any stage. This not his strongest event, but very clean, just the smallest little hop. I have no idea what the selection committee is going to do. I mean, typically at this point, I have a very strong idea of who I think they're going to take, but it's so complicated because so many of the players have had errors in places where they would be needed.
14.65 for Jonathan Horton.
Coming up on parallel bars for Volga Frisco, Tristan Burke.
So there's number 1 and number 2. So that's a big moment for Danelle Wittenberg.
Hasn't finished his competition yet, but just needs a clean parallel bar routine in order to secure that 2nd place finish.
So here's Chris Brooks.
Chris has a very nice variety of skills as well. Physically pretty strong.
Now on parallel bars.
Might have been a little shy of 2 seconds. Got to hold each one of these for 2 seconds. 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Very nice swing.
Could be for a medal.
Do a double back with 1.5 twists. It's a forward landing. Kind of hard to get the ground. And a nice job, though.
Thank you. Man, if I didn't suck on Pommel, I'd be good at gymnastics.
So this dismount is a blind landing. Some guys are able to spot it after a full twist right there. Let's see if he's looking at the ground. He was for a little bit, but then you lose it at the very end. It was close to a stick, but a much better finish than his last event, Pommel horse, that's for sure. He's just watching himself on the Jumbotron.
How's everyone doing? Hope you enjoyed. Got Donzilla coming up next. Start commentating or something. Come on, Don, let's go!
And there is Donzilla trying to clinch second place.
Up next on high bar from Oklahoma will be Colin and Wycliffe.
Well, he's taking a lot of time, too. I don't know if the judges have already gotten the score.
Pretty good number for Chris Brooks, 15.05. Does that put him in front of Legendre? Yes, it does.
Donnell struggled a little bit on one of his elements in day one.
All he needs to do is a 13.05, and that clinches second place.
And that should be easy for him. Very nice. This skill right here, he does it. He rockets to a handstand today.
Well, we can't show everything, and things are happening at the same time, but that noise was for Alec Yoder, who survived that big fall off the pommel and just completed a still rings performance. So, happy end to his day.
Watch the height on this. So powerful.
Kyle Zamir of UC Berkeley on floor exercise.
Big dismount, double front. And there you have it, baby, with a half twist. Without a doubt, there is your second place medal winner.
Let's go over across the floor. Here's Andrea Joyce. Andrea?
All right, Al, I think you'd agree that drama seems to be Sam Mikulak's middle name. How were you able to overcome that first rotation and really turn this into a blowout to win your third title?
I think it kind of just got me angry a little bit. On floor, I just got so zoned. I wanted to redeem myself a little bit. Such an uncharacteristic thing to happen, and I was just happy I could go out and hit a solid performance thereafter.
First guy since Paul Hamm to win 3 in a row. What's it like to be in that company?
It's fantastic. I think more importantly, it's great to be with all these guys. They've been pushing me, getting me to this level, and I'm just excited what is in the future for me.
I know you have a lot of meditating that you do these days. What was going on at high bar with all of these guys coming off today?
Honestly, I haven't been watching all too much. I saw Donnell fall, and I was like, oh my God, this is getting kind of dangerous over here. But I think we all can handle it, and we're all professionals.
So how do you take this success now as we look ahead to Worlds? I know you like to be in the moment, but how do you take this success and translate it onto the international stage?
Well, I think I could probably speak for everyone when we got things we can fix, and we're all going to get together at national team camps and just prepare to go out and put on a very solid performance out in Glasgow.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Al?
So in the space of less than 24 hours, we see two of the best gymnasts America has ever produced do exactly the same thing. Simone Biles in 13, 14, and 15, the best, and it wasn't even close. And Sam Mikulak in 13, 14, and 15, the best, and it really wasn't close. So there's number one, and there's number two as Donnell Wittenberg gets the job done. And that's going to do it from Indianapolis. Up next on NBC, the stars of the AVP return to the birthplace of beach volleyball and the sport's most storied event at the AVP Manhattan Beach Open. Congratulations to Sam Mikulak and to Simone Biles. We will see you with our World Championship coverage in late October. But right now, for Tim Daggett, Nastia Lukin, and Andrea Joyce, this is Al Trent saying goodbye from Indianapolis. That is the story of the 2015 P&G Championships in the Hoosier State.